Well, hopefully your Monday wasn't too rough of a start to the week because we had a beautiful weekend here along coastal Delmarva and a busy one at that. So hopefully you had a chance to go out and enjoy it.
Yeah, I actually got out of town a little bit. I went up to Philadelphia, did all the things that you want to do. Walked around, saw the sights. A buddy of mine came into town from international travel, so it was fun. We got to do a bunch of like the touristy Philly stuff.
Yeah, for sure. But there's a lot happening locally here. That's why we're here for Coast Life. For your hosts, I'm Leah Rizzo.
I'm Charlie Sakaitis.
And some of those things included the Beachside Book Festival that we talked about last week. Browse About Books brought in one of those authors, the big draw for the festival itself, David Baldacci. He was the author that was in. And
that one was sold out well ahead of time. So, you know, big crowds coming for that.
Yeah, we only got a little bit of that rain on Saturday, just like 2 little downpours, but they were small. And then you had the chocolate crawl happening the other day. You had Springfest going on in Ocean City. I mean, it was a busy weekend. And then in Milford, you had the Bug and Bud Festival. So hopefully you had a chance to go out and enjoy it. Or maybe your weekend just looks like sitting your butt on the beach and enjoying it.
and it is time to get ready because we are creeping toward the busy season. So you did start to see some of the traffic coming in and out of town. You started to get a little bit of the pre-summer vibe, so it's on the way. We're almost there for good and for bad.
Yes, so definitely if you want to squeeze in, 1 or 2 more weekends if the weather's nice before the parking meters go on, then make sure you make those plans to do so because once we're in full swing, I mean, halfway through May, that's it. Summer is on when it comes to enjoying all that coastal Delmarva has to offer, which of course is a lot. But something else that happened over the weekend, oddly enough, like 3 separate occasions, I had somebody stop me and they said, "Do you know who you look like?" And I said, "No, I don't know who I look like," because I don't usually get a celebrity movie.
Well, also it can be weird because we are on TV.
Right.
So sometimes
they will say,
"You look like that Leah Rizzo."
Right. So sometimes you do get that. So I was like, I don't know, who do I look like? And they said, "You look like the girl from 13 Going on 30. But they didn't necessarily mean Jennifer Garner. They meant the actress who played the younger version of her in the same movie, Krista B. Allen. So I was like, well, I have to look her up now and see, like, do we look the same as adults? Because we're actually only like a year apart.
Right.
And I see it, especially if I put my hair up.
There's enough that you can go,
and like, this is how I had it over the weekend, and there was enough that I was definitely like, oh, okay, I see it. Have you ever gotten like a celebrity look-alike before or sound alike?
I have 2 that are very different, which is confusing on its own right. But when I was growing up and Friends was huge, people used to tell me I looked like Ross. That happened all the time. So David Schwimmer-ish stuff there. And then also my hair used to be much different than this. It used to be more spiky. And so only from this one specific movie, but Chris Evans in the Not Another Teen movie, when he's standing next to the picture of himself on the wall, I've gotten that a bunch from when I had hair that looked a lot more like that. So
that's hilarious. That's such a hyper-specific reference. But
it's not him all the time. It's just like that one scene.
That's funny. Yeah, my brother used to get that he sounds like Seth Rogen, like to the point where anytime somebody stopped us and they were like, "You know what you sound like?" and everybody in the space would be like, "Is it Seth Rogen?" And they'd be like, he gets that a lot. But I always find that fascinating because I feel like for so long, there's always that question like, oh, if somebody were going to make a movie of your life, who would play you? And I'm like, I don't know.
At least when it's the famous people, though, it's endearing. Yes. I almost never like the comp when somebody's like, "I have a friend that looks just like you," and then you see their friend and you're like, "Is that what you think I look like?" Because I am mortified.
Right? Yeah, I've had some people were like, "Oh, you remind me of Sandra Bullock" before, which like I can kind of see it, but I never really saw it.
It's different hair situation, but I can see it in the face if you switched up the hair.
Yeah, and I've gotten that I sound like Zooey Deschanel, which I think it's just every time I watch New Girl, I pick up her character's speech patterns. But I think everybody does.
It just happens. It's just wormed its way into your lexicon.
It happens where you're like, now we're watching Coast Life, and you have to just start talking like Jessica Day from New Girl. It's a fact. But speaking of movies, you have another sort of tie-in from movies that we
it's a long connection point here.
It's a roundabout connection. Take it away, Charlie.
Well, what's actually been getting a ton of watches lately, and it makes a lot of sense, is the movie Conclave. We're coming right up on this new conclave. They've got to select a new pope. Obviously, very sadly, Pope Francis has passed away.
Yes.
But the process is really, it's very secretive.
Yes.
The people that are involved, they all go inside this one area. They are not allowed to contact anybody on the outside at all during the entire process until they pick a new pope. And if you want to see or learn a little bit about the politicking of something like that, the movie Conclave shows at least a version of what that might be looking like.
I was saying, do we know how accurate that depiction is?
Parts of it are accurate.
How accurate it's allowed to be?
Where they get to ultimately is fairly fanciful. I can never say that word. Fanciful.
Fanciful.
Something like that. But so where they
or fantastical.
Fantastical. Where they get to eventually is its own thing. But in terms of the, how many cardinals have to vote in favor to make this happen? Once they've all voted, what happens to the votes? They toss that in the fire. If it's the black smoke, they still haven't picked a pope yet. If it comes out as the white smoke, then they have. And even just some of the the outfits and how they feed everybody and little things like that are really interesting to see. And they did get a lot of information on that to make the movie. So it is, again, it's not where the movie ends up, but just the entire process.
Yeah.
It makes sense that people are watching it right now.
That does make sense. I mean, the sorrow of the Pope passing, but I think there is sort of that fascination of the process that people are drawn to, and film might be the only connection that most of us are going to get to that moment. I know that sometimes when they do pick a new Pope, it's a popular time to travel to Italy because people want to see.
People want to be there for the big event and see the white smoke.
They want to see
the Pope come out once he's been, selected.
Yeah, and I do know some friends that had a chance to visit Vatican City before, which I know that's also very difficult to do sometimes.
Well, I mean, Vatican City, its own nation,
right?
So it's got its own set of rules. There's a lot that goes into it as opposed to just Italy as a whole.
Yeah, which is still on my bucket list. Italy as a whole, I have not yet been, but I know that's
definitely
like the grand,
on my list as well.
the grand food tour. Because my trip abroad was mostly just the UK, which, while amazing and beautiful and fun, I think the food. Italy calls to me.
The pasta's really
the carbs, the wine.
Really
what else could you ask for when it comes to food? Italy is definitely on my list of things to do there. We also have a whole lot of list of things to do here on Coast Life. Lots to get to, lots of fun to be had. Let's see what's coming up today on the show. If you're looking for a new ride and a Ford is calling your name, it's a good time to visit Preston Automotive Group. We'll tell you why on the way.
And we're coming right up on the Kentucky Derby. Everybody's got a different way to celebrate, but the attire of the Derby and the big hats,
oh yes,
it all makes a difference.
It does, and you're going to need yours. We're going to talk about the hat-making expert and who's going to outfit you. We've also got some jokes to tell. It's Monday, and the weather is nice along coastal Delmarva. That means we are hitting the boards. All that fun and more is coming up today on Coast Life.
Coast Life is sponsored by BB Healthcare, Coastal Comfort Heating and Air Conditioning, Preston Automotive Group, Shell Brothers, and the Parker Group. This segment of Coast Life is sponsored by Preston Automotive Group.
You hear that iconic sound? It belongs to the one and only Ford Mustang. That's what we're talking about today with our friends from Preston Automotive Group. We've got Mark Smith joining us today, and you pretty much know everything there is to know about this beauty here. And one thing you told me before we got started, which I didn't know, April is the Mustang's birthday.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about this.
On top of the weather turning and everybody wanting to bring out their fun cars,
oh yeah,
the ambassador for fun is the Ford Mustang. So 60 years strong. This is a special edition that celebrates the same car that they made back in '64, and it wears the same color that you could get on a '64 Mustang as well. Part of that package.
Perfect.
So it's finished in this Wimbledon white. It's a really cool package. It gets the red interior, red stripes on the outside, and they are only making 1,964 of these.
Okay, so it's not only special edition, it's limited edition.
Limited edition to obviously celebrate that birthday. So.
Fantastic. So are there any other features that maybe fans of the classic Mustang that drivers will see with this anniversary edition?
Absolutely. So it's a blend. It's really cool in the new Mustang because it's a lot of tradition and it's also a lot of technology. So it's a stark contrast on the inside, especially because you have big screens, but you also still have a 6-speed manual transmission.
Fun.
And a V8 up front. So it's a lot of fun. A lot has changed in 60 years, but one thing's still the same, and it's you can go to a Ford dealership and get a V8 Mustang with a manual transmission.
And from what I understand right now at Preston, not only can you get a Ford, but you can also get great pricing on
Absolutely.
a Ford and employee pricing, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
What does that mean for buyers?
To offset the turbulent times that we're having with the auto manufacturing and the impending tariffs that we might see over the next couple months, Ford is upfront saying, if you want to buy one now, here's your time. You pay what we pay. Now through the end of May, you can get employee pricing on select models. This 25 Mustang is included in that.
Heck
and
yeah.
A lot of the pickup trucks, which we're well known for as well.
Yeah, so maybe what are some of your favorite things about this car as well? What else can drivers expect?
Well, the sound. That's the first thing you hear coming is the sound, and Mustang has always had an iconic sound. This one's no different, but it's just an icon in general. I mean, the shape is very, very distinct, and it's unmistakably a Mustang.
Fantastic. It's an iconic car for the iconic you. Can't
Yep.
you picture yourself driving this all summer long? You're going to look great in it. So Mark, for folks who are interested in checking out the anniversary edition of this Mustang or any other Ford vehicle, I myself am a Bronco fan, and they are looking to get that employee pricing. What should they do? How can they get a hold of you?
They can either go to pittsvilleford.com, or you can check out all of our inventory in the Preston Automotive Group at prestonmotor.com. We have more than just Fords. We also sell Jeep, Hyundai,
And that
Mazda as
employee
well.
pricing, that goes across all your locations, right? Not
It's
just the
all
Pittsville?
Fords, and then you can also get the same thing on Jeeps.
Fantastic. There you go. Well, Mark, thank you so much for bringing this beautiful, beautiful, iconic vehicle by today and telling us about all that's going on with Preston.
Absolutely.
Of course. So we've got some more fun and some more to get to with Coast Life. That's on the way.
We have a lot of fun on Coast Life, but sometimes we tackle serious topics, things that really matter and make a difference. And that's why today we have a couple representatives from the Zwanendale Women's Club in. We've got Sarah Poor and Betty Jane Barney. Guys, you've got a very important topic to talk about today. It's human trafficking. Where does that discussion start with an event that's coming our way soon?
That's a great question. So I'm the executive director for DATAC, which is the Delaware Anti-Trafficking Action Council. So me and my team have been able to do a lot of presentations like this. The main point is to make sure that we dispel the misconceptions that are attached to trafficking. We can't effectively help our victims if we can't identify them, right? So there's so much heart in the state of Delaware and so many people that want to help. They just simply don't know what they're looking at and they don't know where to go with it. So that's why I'm so honored to partner to be able to bring awareness for these victims that we need to serve.
It's a dark topic. It's a
Absolutely.
difficult topic. It's
Absolutely.
not something that, over coffee on a Thursday might be the top of mind.
Right.
So how do you get that going?
It started that I had two nieces that were trafficked. So it's a passion, and I love to help others that have been through that. And luckily they were rescued. They still have PTS, post-traumatic syndrome from what they went through, but they're alive, they're doing well. We never give up hope on anyone, let alone family, but anyone out there that's facing this. It's a horrific, horrific situation that we are dealing with every day, and we just want people to know what they can do.
And so for you, there's a personal connection
Yes.
there. And for so many people, they don't even realize that they have a personal
Exactly.
connection. As you get some of this information out there, what are the kinds of conversations that you've got this Shining the Light on Human Trafficking event that's coming up on May 4th?
Yes.
What is it you want people that go to this event to A, come in with, and B, leave with after the event?
Absolutely. So I think the best part is I don't have any expectation, right, of what people's knowledge of trafficking is when they come or when they meet us. And honestly, our media has done a horrific job of actually teaching society what trafficking is. So what I think happens within the context of the audience is they begin to understand that it is in our communities. It is the people that we look at. It is the people that we look over at. It's the people, it's the children within our schools, within our churches and things like that. So for me, when I do these presentations, a lot of it is to relate it to are Delawareans that are at risk, right? A lot of people think that trafficking is this far off third world country issue, and it's truly not, right? So when you start really breaking down, like I might start out and say something like only 2% of trafficking victims are kidnapped, right? Well, that piques people's interest because they think of Taken and they think of those types of movies.
They think of it as much more overt.
Yes.
Like you've been taken, you've been shuttled off to somewhere.
Yeah.
And like you said, like a movie or something, and it's not quite like that.
Well, it's not like it at all, right? So the majority of kids that are trafficked, if they're familiar trafficked, they're actually trafficked by their moms, right? So a lot of people, that's a hard fact to grasp because it's horrific to think that parents would be the ones to traffic their children. And to even think that us as advocates, we have to almost stand in the gap between the parents and the children that are being victimized so we can help the kids, right? Because a lot of times it's generational. A lot of times there's only, and this is something that her and I were discussing, so only 2% of trafficking victims are really ever recovered, right? Like that's the national rate. And if we don't have resources and things available to them, 80% of them are re-victimized very quickly.
Let me ask you, Betty Jane, because you've got some family experience with this, how did that change the way you viewed this overall once that part of your life had taken place, once somebody in your family had gone through this, versus now where you are more educated, know what to look for?
Absolutely. It started with me putting a missing persons out on my niece. And she had been missing 6 years. And she was rescued by a SWAT team in Jacksonville, Florida. So, I mean, you don't know if they're dead or alive or what's going on in their life. And again, our family, we never give up hope. We never stop searching. And many people, you know, are part of that. And we don't hear everything. But there's someone that always knows someone that is going through something like this.
For anybody that wants to go to this event, what do we need to know? What can you tell us?
So it's posted a couple places. So
We've got it, and we've got it right here.
We got it right
Absolutely.
there. Yeah. So the Delaware Anti-Trafficking Action Council, we have a Facebook page. So the information is on the Facebook page, and then I do know that their group sent it out to multiple people, and it's posted on their Facebook page as well.
iHeart picked it up, iHeartRadio, and again, mass emails throughout. And if you can't scan the code to register, it's okay, still come. It's open to the public, and we just want anybody and everybody to come, even if you don't get to scan the SKU.
Yeah,
that's important.
So it's, we'll have this code up. It's easy to scanning, but if you can't do it, if you're not doing it right now, still show up, still take part in the conversations that are happening there. Is there anything else that is important for you guys to relay to the people at home about either the topic or the event that's coming up that you think is important to get out there today?
So I just want to leave you with this. So could you ever imagine somebody walking up to a domestic violence victim that's all beat up, right, and say, why were you disobedient? But every day we see human trafficking victims that are approached and they'll say, well, why were you promiscuous? Well, why did you stay? There's a lot of things that, and I get it, it's easier to ask the victim that than to ask yourself what you could have done as a community member or advocate or whatever your role is in this. But really that's not helping the victims at all, right? It's just pushing them further into the shadows. So we want to let the victims know all across the state that, number one, our Delaware citizens are not for sale, and we're not going to be complacent and allow them just to be sold blindly. And then number two, our victims do have a voice, and they deserve to be heard, and they deserve to be advocated for, and that's what we're here to do. We have to stop looking at victims the way that we do and start rerouting our efforts and be able to accept them in ways that we haven't in the past.
And find a way to help.
Absolutely.
I mean, honestly, that's what it all boils down to. What both of you guys seem to be talking about is finding ways to help people that have been taken advantage of through no fault of their own.
Right.
There's also SARC, S-A-R-C, Sexual Response Assault Center out of Georgetown and Wilmington. And again, they have many, many resources as well. We work with them. We work with Nancy Will with State Trooper 7, with the Victims Unit. So it's a collaboration of so many people that have a passion to make the public aware regarding this horrific situation. It's right in our own backyard.
Well, thank you so much, for sharing your story. I very
you.
much appreciate it. Thank you for the work that you guys are doing. We appreciate it here out on the coast. We are going to take a break. We have more Coast Life coming up right after the break.
You're watching Coast Life with Leah Rizzo and Charlie Sakaitis.
Well, Coast Life, we usually spill our dramas on Thursdays because that's when we spill the tea. But this one was kind of a juicy one that we thought would be fun to share and talk a little bit about before we get into the rest of the show. And so this is a story posted to Reddit, and we had some thoughts and opinions. And the person who posted attended a birthday party hosted by her friends who happened to own a restaurant. And they give their toasts, they give their speech, they're celebrating birthday, and they, in that toast, say, get whatever you want, order what you want, which tends to imply...
The implication being there's going to be some of this picked up by them. I mean, honestly, if they say order whatever you want, I assume it's all being picked up by them.
I kind of would
but
too.
At least you would assume that some of it is.
Like maybe the drinks or maybe the food, if not both, one or the other. And I would think that too. Now, obviously, it was not explicitly said that it's on us. It was not explicitly said you're paying for your stuff. So everybody's having a...
Wasn't it?
But kind of wasn't it?
Because order what you want in the event that you actually have to pay for your meal. Of course I can order whatever I want. I'm paying for the meal. So the only reason to say order whatever you want is if you're taking that off the board.
Yeah, it feels like this was sort of intentionally sneaky phrasing, you know?
So the question is, were they misspeaking in some way and they hadn't meant to phrase it that way? Or was this, as the great Saul Guerrero in the Star Wars universe would say, lies, deception? Because I can't buy into the idea that this wasn't some sort of scam or grift.
I'm kind of with you on that, because ultimately, at the end of the night, every table ended up getting a bill, and some couples, ordered as much as $350 worth of stuff, whether it was because they wanted something nice to drink, I don't know, nice to eat. I don't know what the type of restaurant food that they serve where you can easily rack up a $300 bill.
Well, and here's the thing, to my mind, this is just going to backfire because...
You've lost all your friends?
I would never go back to their restaurant, even like if I felt like a friend specifically scammed you.
Yes.
Like you're not going to be dying to go back and do something there the next time that they are hoping you do, or even just pop in on a Sunday to dine at their establishment. And I'm somebody that particularly enjoys supporting your friends.
Me too.
As long as you knew on the front end, no problem.
Right.
Spend money at your friends'
Absolutely.
places. It's the best way you can support
Love to
them.
throw money at my friends.
It is just that phrase, order what you want, makes it really seem like they're picking it up and they've, for whatever the reason is, they've decided to do this thing.
Yes, and I feel like you have to be transparent in that when it is a celebration, because they closed the restaurant, it wasn't open to the public. It's not like, they were having people order food that they were paying. It felt like a private birthday party, you're celebrating your friends, they want to celebrate with you. And I feel like if you do, I don't know, if it were me, I probably would invite my friends and treat them to celebrating with me. But ultimately, they think the couple probably walked away with like $5,000 off of their friends.
And that's just not okay.
That makes it feel scammy.
It just feels icky in a way that I don't like it.
Well, I'm with you. It sounds scammy, and it seems like most of the internet seems to agree that it is on the scammy side of things out here. But we would never take advantage of you here on Coast Life. We've got a lot to get to. Kentucky Derby is this weekend. We're talking several Kentucky Derby events and what you need to wear.
Yeah.
Well, these fabulous hats that Charlie and I are wearing didn't just materialize out of thin air. And of course, these fancy hats mean the Kentucky Derby is coming up. And
either that or it just meant that we wanted to be
fancy on a Monday
forward today.
It could mean that, but no, if you're getting ready to celebrate the Derby and all things, because there's lots of parties going on around our area as well, and you're going to need a hat. You are going to need a hat. And we've got Tracy Russell, the milliner. That is the new word that I learned behind these hats. Tracy, introduce yourself a little bit to our viewers and how you came to create these beautiful hats and why you do it.
So my business is called Chapeau by Tracy. My lovely best friend is actually the one who came up with the name. I told her, I was like, I've got so many people who are asking me to make these hats for them, which I was doing for charity events and making for pageant systems, both nationally and internationally, as well as state. And it just started to bloom and blossom more than I really thought it would.
Sure.
I thought it would just be kind of a hobby per se. And it's blown up over the last year. And I mentioned it to my best friend and my husband. I said, hey, thinking about actually making a go of this, just kind of like a side hustle type of thing. And they both agreed. And I said, well, I need to come up with a name that's catchy.
Yeah.
So Terry came up with the name, and as soon as she said it, I was like, that's it. That's my name. So it blossomed literally from making competition hats for pageant systems to, again, doing for charity events, whether it's P31 or other events like that, in addition to international items and Kentucky Derby items. And my hats have been seen literally all over the world and have been purchased all over the world.
That's so amazing, turning something that was just sort of a passion project at the beginning into something bigger. Now let me focus a little bit specifically on the Derby right now. What makes for a good Derby hat in your mind?
So a Derby hat consists of three things. It is ribbons or tulle, flowers, feathers, or any other little tchotchkes that you may want to have, or adornments, such as butterflies or
the Maryland flag, for example.
Yes, my Maryland flag. Also, with the Kentucky Derby, you also have different styles. So you really have to choose what fits your personality. You want to feel comfortable. You want to feel confident in what you're wearing. And that's both men and women, of course, in what you wear, which, by the way, you guys both look lovely in these.
Yes, well, it all has to do with the hat.
Yes, it does. Somebody gives me an idea of what they want, and I'm all for it. And I've learned new skills as I go, and that's the best thing is, I get better and better as I go.
Yeah. I also love too that in a lot of cases, the hat is the focal point of the outfit and the launching point for the rest of the outfit to go with it.
Absolutely. The Kentucky Derby tradition is that you choose your hat and then everything else is the accessory to it versus vice versa, where everybody thinks your jewelry and your hat and your shoes are the focal point or the accessories. That's not the case. I've said pageant before, but literally the Kentucky Derby is a pageantry.
Oh, sure.
Yes.
It is all glitz and glamour, and it's not just for high society like it used to be when it first came out. It is now for everybody. And the more wild and crazy and flamboyant the hats are, the better.
Yes.
And this is not, when you buy a hat, it's not the time to budget per se.
Sure.
Okay? People are like, oh, I want a $30 hat that I can get off of Amazon. Well, I'm not saying anything wrong with that, but the Kentucky Derby is when you really want to just go all
The Derby's about
out.
the opulence of the event.
Yes.
So
Yes.
A touch ostentatious.
And the women wanting to make sure that, they showcase and that they're a showstopper there. And it's amazing that like in the 1800s when it first started, you had My Fair Lady, but it was really the 60s and the 70s that brought out everything, where it really got amazing and people were like, you know what, I want to be out there, and that's what.
And be a part of it and be seen and,
Yes.
and make a statement with the headwear that you're going with.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, well, we know that lots of parties and events and Kentucky Derby themed things are going on around the area. So if people are seeing these gorgeous hats and they're like, got to get my hands on them, how do they get in touch with you, Tracy, for Chapeau de Tracy?
Well, they're more than welcome to email me at chapeaubytracy@yahoo.com or my personal phone number, which I hope that you guys will go ahead and have out there. And then also I am located on Facebook as well.
Fantastic.
I actually have a current contest going on. I am almost at 1,000 followers since I opened the page less than 6 months ago. With this contest, the person who is the 1,000 person, in addition to whoever it is that referred them to me, So that could be you guys.
okay,
if they
right.
say, hey, we heard you on
Just
Coast
remember,
Live,
you heard it here first.
Yes,
We're
remember,
just tossing
Leah
that
and
out
Charlie
right there.
told you.
they will each get a $20 credit towards my hats.
Fantastic.
And my hats are reasonably priced. I pride myself on working on anybody's budget, on whatever, making them reasonably priced, not, thousands of dollars, which by all means, some of the
sure.
ones that are $1,000
Oh,
are
yeah.
definitely worth
sure.
it. However, I like to make sure that my clients are able to afford it so they can feel the best that they can feel in
Love
their hats, yes, in their chapeaus.
Of course. Well, Tracy, thank you so much for coming in today and bringing us and letting us wear these gorgeous hats, as well as showing off all the ones that you have before us. It's definitely going to make for a fun derby season.
Well, these are my gift to you.
Stop!
thank you
You're so
so much.
sweet.
So, thank you for letting me be on here. Please enjoy your pork pie hats and enjoy your wide brim hat that I made
shall.
exclusively for you for that pink dress that I saw you
Ah,
in.
you're the
Hey,
sweetest.
that's
Oh my gosh. Well, now you've got your hats, and maybe you need a place to wear them. We're not done talking the Kentucky Derby and the events going on in our area. We've got more to share when Coast Life gets back. Well, Coast Life, before the break, we were showing you all those gorgeous hats that you're going to need for all of your Kentucky Derby parties and related events. And one such event we have a spokesperson for. Joining us here on the Coast Life Couch, we've got Allison Nicholson, Senior Director of Marketing with Ocean Downs Casino. Welcome to the Coast Life Couch, Allison.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, we're so excited. And you guys have a lot going on at Ocean Downs Casino.
Gosh. It's going to be crazy this weekend. I am so excited. It's just going to be party after party after party.
Perfect. So let's dive into some of those parties. People who are showing up at Ocean Downs Casino, what can they expect if they are ready to party derby style?
So first thing, Friday night, we have an iconic 80s band coming in for a free concert. Flock of Seagulls, remember that?
Hey, all right.
Yeah,
There you
break
go.
out that music. So that'll start. We'll open the doors at 7. The concert will start at 8. It'll be wild and fun, dancing. Then we'll turn around Saturday morning, and we'll start it at 10 a.m. registration for a dog costume party derby.
Fun.
A dog derby?
Yes.
Dog costume party
Like,
derby? This
my
is
dogs
great.
have the frilliest, funnest,
Cute.
It's gonna be so great. And then after that, we'll have the Fantastic Derby. Do you know what that is?
No, fill us in.
Okay, that's where you have a stick horse
Yes.
Yes.
and you get to ride around and you do one lap around the whole track, which is a half a mile. Oh my gosh, I don't
That's
know.
a lot with a stick horse.
Right, because you have to and they make galloping noises.
Yes.
But if you don't have a stick horse, you can buy them.
Okay.
They're $20, and then the money from that goes to the Ocean Downs Employee Sunshine Fund. So for us to help out, some of our fellow employees that need that.
Great.
The winner of that gets a share of $2,500
Ooh.
cash.
Okay, so
baby.
yeah, it pays to start training.
Be in shape, but be ready to run the specific
Right.
way.
And you don't even need to really be in shape for it. Just kind of, have fun with it. And then, and I forgot to tell you, the dog derby, it's $10 to enter, but the proceeds of that go to one of the animal shelters here in town.
Fantastic.
So that's wonderful. So we're trying to, we want to give
You guys are
back.
giving back with all the fun.
Right, right. And then after the Fantastic Derby, we have a hat contest.
Fun.
So you can win a share of $1,000 out of that.
wow.
Nice.
I know, right?
And you now know where, earlier in the show we were talking hats
had the
already.
hats,
It's
so
the big,
Exactly,
one of the
that's-
big themes.
Absolutely. And then we're going to still keep going because there's still more to do. After that, we have in Maryland, they have crabs. In
Yes.
Kentucky, we have the horses. So back here, we're going to have a crab derby.
Like the crabs are going to race?
Like they're going to race.
Oh my gosh, this is my favorite thing so
Yes.
far.
They're actually going to race. They'll have numbers on them, and they
That's
slide
hilarious.
down. And the top 3 will go into a semifinals.
I hope
and
they have
then
wonderful crab-related names
I know,
because
right?
this
They
seems
have to.
You
fantastic.
have to come up with those. And what's really cool about that, it's $20 to adopt a crab.
Okay.
And then the money for that goes to the Assateague Coastal Trust.
Nice.
So that's, helping keep the water clean and beautiful in the area. And then we watch the Derby and we cheer them on, 'cause we're owned by Churchill Downs. So, we've got a party in grand style.
Yes.
And then finally, we have another free concert, and we have
you go.
Confederate Railroad No, I personally, I don't know their music, but everybody I've talked to is like, oh my
excited.
gosh. And so, yeah, there's one of their big songs is called Queen of Memphis, and that's who we call our GM Bobby all the time. She is our Queen of Memphis. So we're excited. We're hoping they'll dedicate that song to her. So.
I'm sure.
So you're bookending some stuff with concerts. You got a concert on one side, concert, and about a million great events
different
in the middle.
costume contests and derby style
Yes.
contests. I mean, and you've been in Kentucky before, so you know
I
how
have.
to party derby style.
Yes,
So.
and I've been to the Derby, I've been to the Oaks, and it is majestic and gorgeous and wonderful. And anything that I can do to help bring like the pomp and circumstance and the
Yes.
fun here to Ocean Downs is going to be amazing.
Now here's the question: are you dressing up?
Of course,
All right.
of course.
Is it even a question?
I mean, I have to say, I ordered a dress that had horses all over it, and it didn't come in time. I was gonna wear it.
That'll have to be
today.
next year's
all right.
dress.
Next year's
There
dress,
you go.
yes. And do I have big fascinators? Absolutely.
Love
Let's
to hear
do
it. So it sounds like it's going to be a really fun weekend, all for many different really great causes. For folks who are interested in showing up to any of those other events, I know there are some entrance fees. Are there tickets involved? Do they just show up?
They just show up. Now, if they do want to register early for the Fantastic Derby,
Okay.
you can go ahead and on our social media or on our website, there's a QR code. Click on that and we'll get you in.
Fantastic. All right. Well, Allison, thank you so much for coming in and getting us excited for the
Yeah,
Kentucky
it's
Derby.
going to be a
and
fun
Thanks.
weekend,
Oh,
I think.
so
I hope
much
to
fun.
see you guys over there.
Yes,
It'll be great.
yes, and all the fun that you guys have planned at Ocean Downs Casino. It's going to be a lot of fun. But we're not done with all the fun. We've got some jokes to tell you, some jokes to crack when Coast Life gets back.
This segment of Coast Life is sponsored by Kids Catch.
Well, sunny days are here along coastal Delmarva, and that means Coast Life is getting out and about a little bit more. That's why we're out on the boardwalk in Rehoboth Beach to tell some jokes with our joke jar, thanks to our friends at Kids Catch. So hopefully we'll have a chance to brighten some days, maybe ruin some days. We know that we're definitely going to try to force the ugh and the eye roll. So let's see how we do. Well, what kind of math do birds love? Any guesses?
Bird bath?
Bird bath. That's good. That's a good guess.
What kind of math?
Did you say math?
Math, like numbers, addition, subtraction.
I have no clue.
We only have three claws.
Three? Okay.
That's the right thought process. Birds like algebra. We have Samantha here being a very good sport for us for our joke jar. All right, Samantha, name the kind of tree that you can hold in your hand.
A palm tree.
Hey, Samantha's got this. Why do ducks always pay with cash?
Ducks pay with cash?
Yeah, you know why?
Why?
Sam, do you know why ducks always pay with cash?
Well, if this was a chicken joke, I'd say it's because they're cheap.
Oh, that's a good one too.
It's a good one. Because they have bills.
Hey! Ding, 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 ding. We should have prizes for you, but mostly you get my joy and celebration. How do you know when a bike is thinking?
Oh, I don't know.
Bike, when it's thinking, you can see the wheels turning. I know, they're painful. One more joke for you guys. Thank you for being such good sports. Are we ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
Okay. Did I mention these are terrible? Why did the student eat his homework?
Why did
You couldn't get the dog to do it?
Another better answer than the actual punchline. He should write these.
I'm telling you. Why did the student get the
Why did the student eat his homework?
eat his homework?
Oh my gosh.
I have no clue. Joe? No?
That's all right.
We're ready.
I don't know that anybody would get these, but it's because the teacher told him it was a piece of cake. Ah, boo. How do billboards talk?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Not a good one. Ready to roll your eyes? Sign language. I've got one more for you, Samantha, because you're being so nice to us. All right. Let's see what we have. No, that's also the lame one. I want to pick a good one. Where do most horses live?
Ooh. A barn.
That is the true answer. But the joke answer is neighborhoods.
No. No, 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 no. No. No, no.
Yes, yes, yes. Neighborhoods. That was a good one. I picked a horse theme joke because we were gearing up for the Derby.
No, I get it. Like all these jokes,
They're not
I get it.
No, they're not winners. They're really not winners. But you can always be a winner. And don't forget, if you have some good, bad jokes,
yes,
we would
love to hear them.
You can send them our way, team@coastlife.com. You can even go to our website and fill out a form there. We've got plenty of ways that you can chime in with our joke jar. And hopefully, you know, maybe you felt more like Charlie did about these jokes. I was really excited about that one.
To be fair, the best ones do make you just go like, oh.
They hurt. They hurt from the inside out. They hurt. And of course, it's all thanks to our friends at Kids Catch. But Charlie's got to head downstairs. We got to send him on his way to get ready for Coast TV News at 5. That's coming up, but we still have a little more of Coast Life to get to before that. Well, Coast Life, before we let you go for the day, coming up tomorrow, we've got some great events giving back to our community. One that's a family-friendly event going down in Milford to benefit our friends at Habitat for Humanity. We've also got a great bicycle-related event coming up that gives back to the community as well. That's all on the way for tomorrow, though. For now, Charlie downstairs, he's getting ready for Coast TV News at 5. That is up next. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow for some more Coast Life.